This is Gemara Sanhedrin, Daf Tzadi Aleph. We're holding on the bottom of Sadi Amud Beis. We began the famed parak of Hachelek yesterday. Mir Hashem learning should be an incredible zchut rafua Shlema for Tinok and Miriam Ahuva. B'soich Sha'ar Chele Yisrael. So we're in the middle of the exchange between the Romans and Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya. Says the Gemara approximately 20 lines from the bottom, right after the parentheses. Shalu Roimiyim as Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya. The Romans asked Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya two questions. Number one, how do we know that Hashem is going to perform Techiyas HaMeisim and the Kadosh Baruch Hu knows what will be in the future? Amar Lahu. So Yeshua ben Chananya responds, Tarvayu min HaMikra. Both of these details we can learn from a pasuk Azeh, the following pasuk: Shenemar, Vayemer Hashem el Moshe. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe, Incha shoichi v'mavoisecha. V'kom ha'am hazeh v'zana. Hashem says to Moshe, you're going to lie with your avois, and you're going to get up the nation, and they're going to run after other gods. Says the Gemara of Adilma, perhaps v'kom ha'am hazeh. Perhaps v'kom ha'am hazeh v'zana. Maybe it means I'll get up and I'll go astray. And maybe it doesn't mean that there's actually going to be a future time that a Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring them back up to Techiyas HaMeisim. Amar Lahu. Rabbi Yeshua responds, Lekaitu mi'apalga b'yadayu. Take half of the raya in your hands. So we certainly see from these psukim that Kadosh Baruch Hu knows what's going to be in the future. It's Marnami. Similarly, we find in Rabbi Yechon Mishum Rashbi. Minayin shekadosh Baruch Hu mechayim eis. If you know what shazali yoshnem elchei shevim zechavay kami goymer. Tanya, we learned in a brayz. Rabbi Yesi, whatever says yafti sifrei minim. So first, we arrive from Rashbi. Quotes the Gemara of brayz. Rabbi Yesi says, and this idea, I had a raya that the minim ziyafti, I was able to come out and say that the minim, that the apikarsim were incorrect. How did he prove the apikarsim incorrect? Because they said Amarti lehem. So I responded to them, Ziyavtem teiraschem. You made your psukim false. But you've gotten nowhere. Why? And now he proves it. You, the minim, hold that there is no Techiyas HaMeisim in the Torah. But the pasuk says, "Ikaris tikaris hanefesh ha-hi avoyna ba." Should be cut off, and his aver is upon him. Ikaris tikaris. What does that mean? Boilam hazeh. Avoyna ba leimas. What does it mean that his sin will be upon him? Lav loilam haba. Is this not La'ilam Haba? So Minehu Bey, within itself you have proved that certainly there's going to be an afterworld, certainly there's a next step to life. Continues the Gemara, Amarle Abaye, 1 second. Why couldn't he learn out both details from the pasuk of Ikaris? Enu Ave Amrulei. You know why? Because he would have responded, Tebratayra Kelashem Menei Adam. So there's an element that you cannot learn out from this simple reading of the pasuk. Why? Because then we could just tell you, the Torah responds just the way that people talk. And therefore, we had to bring the other pasuk. And says the Gemara, Kitanoi, this is in reality a machlekes Tanoi. Says the Gemara, Ikaris Bilam was dead, Ikaris Bilam Rabbi Akiva. Amr Rabbi Yishmael, wait. Says, whoa, what's going on here? What does the pasuk mean that Hashem is megadif v'nichrasa? What does that mean? Are there 3 worlds? Ela v'nichrasa is Balamazeh. Hikares is Ilam Abam. And Hikares is what? It sounds like there's a 3rd world. No. Tibra Torah Kilashan B'nei Adam. The Torah speaks in the way that people speak. Ask the Gemara 1 second. Bein Rabbi Yishmael, bein Rabbi Kiva, Avoynai Ba, my Avdulei. Both Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Kiva, what do they do with the fact that the pasuk says the sin will be upon him? Explains the Gemara 4 lines from the bottom. Lichid Tanya, as we learned in a brayz. Yochel, I would think Afilu Asa Tshuva. I would think that even if one who doesn't have Eira does Tshuva, he's still cut off. Therefore, says the pasuk is Aveir's upon him, which proves Loya Marti. When is there this kares? Only Elabizman. Only when the Aveira is upon him if he does not do Tshuva. And that's the second exchange. Now we move on to the third exchange. Shalom Cleopatra, famously, Malchus as Rabbi Lazar, as Rabbi Meir, Queen Cleopatra, again one of the Egyptian queens, asks the following of Rameir. Amra, she says, Yodano de Chaye Shachvi. I know, I got it, that the dead will live again. I got it that there's Tchias HaMesim. Tersev, how do I know that? Because it says, they're going to blossom like the grass of the earth. Ella, but it asks Cleopatra, Kishein Oimdim, when there is this Tchias HaMesim, Oimdin Arumim, are they going to get up unclothed? Or Oi Bilavushim Oimdim, or are they going to get up wearing their clothing? How is Tchias HaMesim going to be performed? So Amar La, so Rameir responds to Cleopatra, Kal v'chaymer mechita, I'll bring you a raya. Umachita, when it comes to wheat grain, Shenikra Ruma, you put the kernel in the ground undressed. Yotza bekam levushin, the wheat grows, it's covered. So tzadikim, shenikvareim bilevusheim, that they're buried with their garments. Alachas kama v'kama, that they'll be reborn, with their clothing. Amar le, and that's the end of Cleopatra. Amar le, Caesar Rav Gamliel. Now Caesar comes on and says, Caesar to Rav Gamliel, Amritu deshachli chayei. You say that there's going to be Tchias HaMesim. Have afra, but the body decomposes and becomes dirt. Va'afra mika chaya. What does that mean? Is dirt going to come back alive as we turn over to Tzadi Aleph, Amid Aleph, and you notice the double Rashi, a classical siman of Agadata Gemaras. There's no tesis over here. We just have a double Rashi. But says the Gemara, so Amra Le, so the Caesar, and this is actually Caesar's daughter that is responding, Amra Le Brate, Shavke, leave him be. V'ano mahadrino le, and I'm going to answer him. And she says, there are two potters. One creates things from water, one from clay. Which one is better? Tsar, Hashem creates human beings out of water. So then certainly he could create from a tit. Continues the Gemara, Dvei Rabbi Yishmael, Tana, the Bryce Rabbi Yishmael learned. Kal v'chaymer mekli zchuches. Similar to what we just said, that the nace of creating from afar, the nace of creating from tit is even greater. I'll bring you a raya from glass kalim. Ma'klei zchusim shamolan beruach, basar shamolan beruach. A kli zchuches, that the way that it's created is beruach basar v'dam, by people. Nishbra, and yet what happens when glass shatters? Yesh le'takana. You could fix it. You throw it back in the kiln, you melt it up, and you can create it again. Says the Gemara, but a basar v'dam sheberucha shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How is a person created? He's created by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As the pasuk in Bereshis, it teaches us that Hashem blew in the breath into the nostrils. Then certainly alachas kama v'kama could be recreated. Tchias HaMesim. A fifth story. And of course you realize the thread over here, that all of these exchanges are about one theme, about Tchias HaMesim. So the Min says to Rav Ami, how could it be that there's going to be Tchias HaMesim? V'avi similar question that we saw in the bottom of the base. V'afra mika chaye kadur, to come back alive. I'll teach you a mashal, Shamar lavad v'chov v'nuli paltri. Go build me a palace. K'daylim b'makayim shein mayim v'achavar. Go build me a palace in a place where there's no water or earth. There's no way to make bricks. Halchu banu oisai. So the servant goes, and they build with other materials. Liyamim, what happens? Of course, if you build a palace without stones, no fluid falls. Amr lehem, the king says, Chazru banu. Build it again. Okay, please, you can make stones. Amr lai, we're not able to build a palace. Kas aleim, the king gets upset. Amr lehem, I don't understand. In a place that you didn't have any materials, you built the palace. Achshav, now, now that you have dirt and water, and says the king, and if you don't believe that you could create something, say lebika, go to the valley, achbar, go find a little achbar, go find a mouse or a squirrel, it depends how you teach it, shayoim, that today, where is this squirrel? It's half in the ground and half not. Lamachar, hishritz v'naseh, kulay basar. It's going to be created into a full creation. Again, which creature this is not so simple. So Shema Taimar in the last narrow line, maybe you're going to say, Lizman Meruba, Allah, Lizman Meruba. Maybe you're going to say that it takes a lot of time. Ali Lahar, go up to mountain Ray and see, Shayayim in the first white line, In Boy El Chilazain Echad. Right now, there's one chilazin, of course, whatever the creature is, the aquatic creature they create tcheles with. There's going to be many chilazines. So we see that things could certainly be recreated, a raya to tchias amazing. After the 5 exchanges, says the Gemara, Omar le'ahu mina ligabia ben psisa. A certain min says to Gavia ben Psisa, Vai l'choyin chayava. Woe is to you who do aveiros tamritan misa chayin, the chayin misa, the misa chayin. That you say that even if the chayin misa, the living are going to die, the mason chayin, are the dead going to live? Amar lei, vai l'choyin. Woe is to you. Chayiba damritan misa loy chayin, the loy of a chayin davei chayin l'kol shekin. The way that you live life is even more ridiculous. You say that the dead, the mason loy chaye, are not going to live. So now someone that doesn't live, you think they're going to come back to life? So Amar Lei, so the min says back, what are you talking about? Chayava karasili. So the min says, you're calling me one who does averos. Ikamainu biata becha. I'm going to get up and I'm going to kick you. And I'll straighten you out. Amar le imata Isakein roife uman tikra schar harbe tito. If you do that, you'll be called a doctor, and a lot of money will be charged for your medical fees. Now, exactly as we're going to see as we go deeper and deeper into this famed parak, that there is a level of complication, sometimes even understanding the Pashup shot of the stories, but let's try to do the best. And now we move on to Eretz Yisrael, Tanur Rabban in the 4th very wide line. Be'esrim Arba b'Nisan, 24th of Nisan, Netilu d'Moy Nisanaim Yudam Yushalayim. On the 24th of Nisan, the challengers were removed from where? Yehuda and Yushalayim. Kshabau b'nei Afrikai. When the Africans came, Ladinim Yisrael, to judge Levnei Alexandros Muktam, which of course, we know Alexandros Muktam, we know his interactions with the Africans from Maseches Tamid. Amarulai, the Africans said, Eretz Canaan Shalanui, we own Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Canaan Gulaseim, Canaan Avuan Dinhu, Inchi Avoy. And Canaan was our grandfather, Africans. Amr Lahu, Alexander said, Gavia ben Petita lechachamim. So Gavia ben Petita says, Alexander, he's going to respond to the Chacham. Tanilu Rishos, give me permission. Come, let's go talk about it. If what happens, if a simple person amongst us wins, then it moves nothing. And if I beat them, Amru lahem, they're going to say, Tairis Moshe Nisaschem. He went and he dined with Alexander Muktam. But Dani Man Amrlem Echanata Mevi and Raya. We're going to bring a Raya Amrlem Minat Torah. Amrlem Avani Loyavi Lachem Raya Leminat Torah. Shenemar. Vayomer Aru Kanan Evan Avodim Yelachav. Evet Shekanan Nechasim Evan Lemi. Unechasim Lemi. Who owns the Evan and who owns the property? V'lo Oid. And not only that, Elishari Kama Shanim Shaloyavdu. Amr Lehem Alexandria. So that's their proof that they, the Africans, own Eretz Canaan. Amr Lehem Alexandria is a Malka Chzir Li Tshuva. So says Alexander, we're going to answer them. What's the response? Chzir Li Tshuva. So Amr Lai, so Chacham said, Tinu Lo Zman Shalish Yamim. Give us 3 days, Naslo Zman, Bot Kivul Matzu Tshuva. Miyad Baruch Hu. So they realized this is a little bit scary. They ran away. V'inichus are the same kishen zerois, and they left their fields that were planted v'karmeim shenetuyos, and their vineyards planted v'isa shana shviyas haisa, and that year was Shemitah. Okay, so we have a fascinating story. The Chachamim running away after not being able to defend against the Africans. Shom ba'machas ba'u b'nei Mitzrayim ladim Yisrael of Alexander's Muktin. So another time, these Egyptians came to down in front of Alexander. Says, hey, remember back in Mitzrayim, you took all our gold and silver, you borrowed it. Guess what? It's time to give it back. Let me go and down with them, the Alexandros. If I win, then you say, the civil person beat us. Money when he joined with them, and Klal Yisrael when Mitzrayim were there for Shleishim Shana of Arba'im Shana 430 years. So So he said, 1 second. You want back the gold and silver kilim that we took. Guess what? We worked for you for 430 years. Pay us for what? Al Shishim Riboy. Pay us for the 600,000 people that worked for you. Shavatim Mitzrayim Shleishim Shana of Arba'im Shana. Amr Lem Alexander's Muktam Echzirulai. So Alexander Muktam said, okay, respond. Amr La Tshuva, Amr La Tivul Zman, Shisham, Nasl Zman, Bal Kivul Matu Tshuva. Miyan and Nichsel saying she deserves the Kamim, she the 2 years of Baruch Vasu, Shana Shviz, I say ran away. Shav Bam and a third time Achaz Bao B'nei Yishmael B'nei Keturah Ladnim Yisrael. The children of Yishmael and Keturah came to Dan with Klal Yisrael. The Alexander's Muktam Amr La Eretz Kenan Shalanu. V'Shalachem, it's ours and it's yours. So now, the people of Yishmael and the B'nai Keturah are not claiming full and sole ownership, but rather they're claiming part ownership. It says that these are the generations of Yishmael. Let me go down with them. The Alexanders mocked him. Nasler says, "Valch v'dani man amr lem yechan adam evi and raya. What's your amr lem Torah? Amr lem avanir lo yiraya lem Torah shenemar. V'hitin Avram is kol asher loy liyitzig v'nei ablakshim asher Lavram. Nasan Avram matana. He said, "B'nei ablakshim he gave presents. Av shenosan agitin labanav b'chayav v'shigir zeh me'al zeh klom yish lezev al zeh klom." So says the Gemara, okay, very nice. But my matana, so what does he mean? He gave the matana to Bnei B'lakshim, Miriam Barabba, Melamed. You know what this teaches us? Shemash shame Toma. That he gave them over shame, the knowledge of Toma. Omar loy Antoninis l'Rebbe. So shifts the Gemara away from Alexander Muktam and the Africans after 3 different exchanges. Now we have Antoninis having discussions with Rebbe, and of course we know that Rebbe and Antoninus were close and good friends. Says the Gemara, 3 lines to the bottom. So says Antoninus, a body and a soul are able to excuse one from din. The Gof says the neshama sinned. That I separated from her. Once I was dead, I did nothing. Uneshama imeres no. Guf chata. Shemim shebirashi mimeno. Ari barchas ba'avir kitzipar. Amar lehem shalom v'chamashal nadaim elim elbaz v'dam shayah like paradise noeh. He had a beautiful orchard. And you know what else the king had? As we turn over to Tzadi Aleph Amid Beis, the king also had Bakurais Nois. Beautiful figs. Bakurais Nois. And he put two guards there. One was lame, one was blind. I see Bekurais Nois. I see beautiful early figs in the orchard. Come and let me go on your shoulders and a VM lachlam, and I'll be able to grab down these wonderful figs, and we'll eat them. So Rachav Chigar al Gabi Suma, the lame person went on the shoulders of the blind guy. Yamin Babala Pardes, the owner of the orchard, comes Amerlem. Whoa, what's going on over here? Where are my bakurais nois? Where are my figs? The blame guy says, do I got legs? You think I can get them? The blind guy says, there is, I can't even see. So what did the king do? The king was not stupid. He put the lame guy on the blind guy, and he put them on trial together. Maybe neshama v'zarka b'gof. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does what? He puts the neshama back into the body. V'tanai sein kirechad shenemar yikar l'shemayim me'al v'la'aretz ladin imai. Yikar l'shemayim me'al zu neshama v'la'aretz ladin imai zu agof. So of course the neshama on its own cannot sin, the guf on its own cannot sin, but Hashem judges them together. We pick it up from the two dots about 14 lines down. Continues the conversations between Antoninus and Rebbe. Amar le Antoninus le Rebbe. What is the reason that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west? Amar le. Rebbe responds, if it was the other way, Nami. If it was the opposite, you asked me the same thing. So Amar le Antoninus says, no, this is what I'm asking you. What is the reason? What is the reason it sets in the west? Why does it not set? Why does it not go to the top and come back to where it started? Amar Lei responds, you know why? It wants to give a greeting to its creator, Shenemar. The celestial beings bow down to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Amar Lei says Antoninus, let it go to the middle of the sky. Give shalom to Hashem in the middle. Misham, and then go back over there. Misham Ivrei Derachim. Between Shalom V'Teil. And Rebbe answers, Misham Payel and Misham Ivrei Derachim. You know why? Because of the workers. That is the reason why the sun goes all the way to the other part of the sky, so that people would know it would be the sun setting. If not, again, however this means scientifically, if not, it would just go light to dark instantaneously. And the Payalim, the workers, the travelers, need that warning. Says the Gemara of Amrla Antoninus L'Rebbe. Antoninus continues. About 13 lines from the Y lines. The first one line is L'Rebbe. When does the Neshama enter a person? Mishas Pekida. Is it from the moment of literally attention, Pekida, which is the moment that the malach comes and there's the conception, the moment the egg and the sperm comes together? Oy mishas yitzira. Or is it at the time of the formation when the baby is fully formed? Amar le mishas yitzira. Amar le avshar chaticha shel basar emedesh shleisha yamim b'loy melech ve'ina masrachas. So Antoninus responded, I don't understand. Is it possible that a piece of meat sits for 3 days without salt and it's not going to become putrid? How could it be that this being could live without a neshama? Al mishas pekida must be at this earlier stage. Amar Rabbi davar zeh lamanu Antoninus umikra Messiah. We have a proof from a pasuk Shemer b'katzilcha shamra ruchi, and your attention is guarded my spirit. And again, big machlokes him exactly when is the conception with relation to this Gemara, etc. Continues the Gemara of Amalei Antoninis L'Rebbe. Mehem is Hayitzara Shalei Be'adam. Mishatz Yitzira, time of creation. Mishatz Yitzira, or from the moment of birth. Amar Lei Rebbe responds, Mishatz Yitzira, from the moment of formation. Amar Lei responds, Antoninis again, Bayit B'Me'imai. If this is true, the fetus would kick. The Yatzim would want to leave. El Mishatz Yitzia must be the time the baby comes out. Amar Rebbe, there was a Matin Antoninis Mikram Sayor Shenamar Lepetach Chatas Reifis at the Pesach, at the opening. That's where sin crouches. Reish Lakish Rami. Reish Lakish comes along and he asks a contradiction. Ksiv, it says in the Pasuk, Abam Iver Pisech Harav Yoledes Yachtav. Says the Pasuk, the blind and the lame, the pregnant, the one who gave birth are all together. Uksif. Az Yidalig, then it will skip Kayol Pesach V'Tarvoin V'Sarein Lishoin Ilem Ki Nivku B'Midbar Mayim L'Cholim Ba'Arava. So says the Gemara, HaKitzad, what's going on over here? No, this means that at the time of Tchias HaMeisim, they're going to get up with their mum. They're going to get up the way that they were, but then Umisrapim. Ulin Ula Rami. Ula has a contradiction on the second wide line. Says in the Pasuk, conceal death, and Hashem will wipe away all tears. Uksef, Kenar ben Mea Shana Yamas, Leim Hashem Oid Ol Yamim. Ol Yamim, the youth will die. Though we know young in years, they're going to die. So is it that there's no death? There is death. Lo kasha can be Yisrael can be Akom. But Akom my bo says more. What? But Akom my bo. So what are the Akim? What are the Goyim doing there? Lost Lavai. Hinech Tchsiv who answers the Gemara on the Zarim V'Rov Sonechem B'nei Nicha Chrisu V'Kar Meichem, that the Goyim are going to be plowing. The Goyim are going to be working for us, and those are going to be the Goyim that will live to an old age. Rav Chisda Rami Ksiv, it says on the fifth wide line. V'chafru alvana ubushachama kimalach Hashem sevakais. The moon will be ashamed and the sun. Uksev v'ya'ar alvanu karachama yeshivasam karshivasayamim. So says the Gemara, what is going on? If you're embarrassed or not, from here we see that there's two different levels. There is the Maisa Mashiach. That's when the moon is going to get to the same level as the sun, and then it's going to get more intense. Then when the two of them are going to shine together. Well, the Shmuel asks the Gemara, famous sheet of Shmuel that Yimos Mashiach and Eilam Haba is be'etzim one of the same. Only difference is that the Goyim are working for us. So what are you going to say? Depending where we are amongst the Sadiqim, amongst the Shechina, there'll be different levels. And finally, one more Shayla Rava Rami Rama asks, I'm going to put to death and I'll make a live. And the second pasuk says, I'm wounded, I'm going to heal. So what's going on? If you're Makadosh Baruch Hu, Masha ni meimes ani mechaya, v'hodor Masha mechatzti v'ani arpeh. Hashem first is going to bring one back to life, and then Hashem is going to make them whole. Taner Rabbanan, in a similar vein, ani emes v'achi achol shati misa be'achad v'chayim be'achad. Kedar shalom noyeg. We would think that it's going to be the same thing. Talmud Loimar says the pasuk mechatz v'ni arpeh ma mechitza rafua be'achad af misa v'chayim be'achad. It's all one and the same. Mikan Shuva Leimer Tchias HaMeisim, and I'll tell you another beautiful raya that of course is going to be Tchias HaMeisim. We'll stop over here and pick it up from here. B'siyata Dishmaya.